That's when you got to have the truth planted on your heart, because those are the days that's going to get you through whatever you feeling, because feelings are temporary. They here today, gone tomorrow, but the truth of God is here forever.
It'll make me like kind of sad, like, oh, I'm not going out or I'm not doing this, but it's like, that's not for you, and God's doing something for you different from other people.
That's why it's important to have God-fearing friends, because every single time you need advice, they're always going to relate it back to the word. Hey, what's going on, family? Welcome back to the Here I Am podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Hobley, and here at the Here I Am podcast, our prayer is that God takes us as we are, shapes and molds us into the people that we were always created and destined to be. This is episode 3, man. Let's go! Hey, bro, God is moving, God is grooving, and God is showing out for sure, man. We just got done filming episode 2, and we on episode 3 right now. I got to say, I'm so honored and so thankful, because I had no idea who was going to be on these episodes. I had no idea who the guests were going to be, none of that. So I'm so grateful and honored to have these two lovely ladies here. These are one of my really closest friends right now. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then we're going to talk more about how we all know each other and stuff like that.
Hey, everyone. I'm Nariah Parks.
Hey guys, my name is Nia Wiley.
And so the three of us, we all go to the same college. The two of them actually run track at our college. And tell them like y'all's majors and like just ages and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm a junior computer information systems major. Like Kim said, I'm on the track team. I'm from Illinois.
So I major in biology, pre-dental. I'm a sophomore, and I'm from Dallas, Texas. And for track, I run the 400 and the 200. So.
Oh yeah, I run the 4 and the 2.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I have no idea like what the difference is, like the events and stuff, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't. So like, tell them like what that is like.
Okay, so the 400, that's one lap around the track, and then the 200 is half laps around the track. So it's like half a lap. Yeah.
All right. You get it.
Yeah.
What do you run?
Same here. I mean, I run the 4, so one lap and half a lap.
Yeah, and we do the 4x4.
Yeah,
too.
so that's like where it's 4 people on a relay, just like never mind, I ain't forgetting that. But yeah, 4x4, everybody runs a 400 with a baton, which is like a stick.
That's a bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to run track. I was trying to try out for the track team at Tech, and I was trying to do the 100. But when I seen how fast those dudes were, like I was like, nah. And I actually got deployed for the military. Like right when I was trying to try out. So like, I guess that was God saying, no, this is not for you.
Yeah.
I'm glad he said that, because them dudes fast for real.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure a lot of people are wondering how we all met. So I'll just talk about how I met both of y'all. So I met Nia. We were at a restaurant, and so this is back when I don't really party as much anymore. I really don't party at all anymore. But when I met her, we were at a restaurant, and it's called La Bamba. Everybody knows what La Bamba is. La Bamba is like a restaurant, and it turns into like a karaoke type vibe place. Yeah. And we were there, and then everybody went to like this party afterwards, and then what's it called? Me and Nia, everyone was partying, and then I was sitting Nia was sitting by herself, and then I was sitting by myself, but we were like sitting by ourselves like on a bench together. And then like everyone's partying around us, and then we just randomly started talking about God.
Yeah.
Just randomly started talking about God. And that's how we met. And I just remember I never forgot that conversation. And then like later on, like I guess God like reminded me. He was like, hey, remember that conversation you had with that girl? Hey, like reach out to her. So like I reached out to her, and then you had like I was like, bro, I want to keep having conversations like that. This is around the time when I'm really trying to work on like who I'm surrounding myself with and like my friend groups and stuff. And God was like reminded me of like the conversation that we had. Yeah. And then he was like, hey, hit her up. And then I hit you up, and then we started talking about like something. And I was like, I really want to have more God-fearing friends. And then you were like, well, I have this Bible study with me, and it was you're in the Bible study, and then there's another girl that's in the Bible study. Were you in the Bible study? Oh, there's another girl here too. She's in the Bible study too. And they just invited me, and like during the summer I got on like the FaceTime call, and like that was like the initiation of like how we got closer. Pretty much. And then obviously like throughout school we started like studying. We all three of us started studying together. Janiyah too, she's over here, and then another girl. We just started forming a friend group based off of God, really. Yeah. And then Nariah, same thing. Like I just know her from track. And I don't even know how we started talking about God. We just got close this year.
Yeah.
Like, I've known you around campus and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen each other around campus, and we have mutual friends and stuff. And, like, this year, I think we got closer because of the Bible study.
Yeah.
Would y'all say that?
Yeah, I would say
Like, how we
so.
got closer.
Yeah, and just like different life circumstances that
Yeah.
we could all relate to this past year
Yes.
brought us closer. So
Yes. Like, being able to relate to a lot of stuff. And then, like, you were able, because me and you were going through the same situation.
yeah,
And then you reached out to me about advice through that situation, and then I helped you with it. And then essentially we were like, dang, like, we really relate to a lot of stuff. So we just started hanging out, and then y'all are already friends. So, like, now the three of us hanging out, we studying together.
Yeah.
And that's basically how we met. If y'all want to add anything to that.
I guess I'll just say, like, I'm really glad, like, we did all meet, and, like, it's helped me actually a lot, like, in my journey with God, and just being able to, like, surround myself around people who are like-minded, and just, you know, being able to surround myself around God-fearing people. So, yeah.
Heck yeah.
yeah. I will
really
say.
helpful.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I will say, like, I definitely do feel as though everything that's happened is God ordained.
Yes.
Because just certain things that came up in my life, I wouldn't even think they would have happened. And it brought me closer to you. And I was obviously already closer to Nia. So, you know, I remember, like, back my freshman year, I was praying for, like, God-fearing friends. And it took me 2 years to really see it through. It took me, like, into sophomore year to, like, really feel as though I had community and God-fearing friends. So it's just, like, God answers prayers. And, I mean, that's what I'm really seeing through all of this. We work on God's time, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, like, I had the same prayer. Like, I was, like, I have a similar situation. Like, my freshman year, I was hanging out with a certain crowd, and it was just, like, leading me to, it was basically leading me down the path I didn't really want to go down. And then I ended up getting deployed. So then all those people that, like, I was friends with my freshman year ended up graduating. And then I came back and I had no friends. And so, like, that was my prayer too, was like, God, because basically when I was overseas, God worked on me a lot through a lot of stuff, and I was finally at a place that I wanted to be. And so I was like, I don't want to backtrack. So I was like, God, please send me people in my life. The initial prayer was, Lord, send me, like, men, because most of my friends are females for some reason. I don't know why, but most of my friends are females. So I was like, God, please send me, like, men in my life that, like, are like-minded. Like, I'm talking like-minded. We got the drip. We all dressed. Like, I just, like, because that was one of the things that I struggled with, was, like, even the way that I dressed. I was, like, always the oddball. It just didn't feel like I was a part of the group, really. And, like, I just prayed for God for that, and he sent me those men. And then y'all just came along. I guess I was praying for y'all too, because that's what actually we're going to talk about this in this episode, is, like, the importance of having God-fearing friends. I guess we could just go ahead and dive into it right now. So yeah, like, I was at a point in my life where I really worked on myself. I'm finally in a great place, and so I was super, super sensitive to who I was surrounding myself with. And honestly, it was really around the time when I was going to a lot of parties. I was going to a lot of parties, and it's crazy. I don't go to a lot of parties, but, like, how God allowed us to meet at the place that he didn't want me to be at anymore. And now, like, I'm no longer in that atmosphere anymore, but, like, he still blessed me during a place that I shouldn't have been at. And God can do that a lot, like, bless you and provide for you, even, like, in a place you're not supposed to be. Like, he can, like, speak to you even though you're not supposed to be there. Can y'all relate to that too?
Yeah. Just this year in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be like that too. I feel like my first 2 years of college, I was very out and about, very on every set, on every scene. I wanted to be everywhere. And this third year, God just really did a whole, like, complete 180 on my life. And it left me, like, scratching my head towards a lot of, like, friendships, towards a lot of associations that I've had. And in that, I didn't really see what God was doing. And so, you know, it left me questioning, like, God, what are you doing? I pray that all the time now, like, Lord, I don't know what you're doing with my life, but I trust in you, right? So, you know, in that, while God was, like, molding and shaping these past few months, like, he provides for you. Like, I go to a church, and it says in Matthew 6:33, it's like, you know, as long as you're seeking first the kingdom and God's righteousness, everything that you're looking for will be added unto you.
Right.
So like all the friendships that I used to be close towards, all the people, all the associations I used to be close towards, and now I'm no longer close to them, and I no longer want to do certain things and go out to certain places. God replaces that with greater. So like now I have you all, now I have better associations, and you know, still the same associations, but you know, God works just like that. So
I'm telling you. You want to say
Yeah.
anything?
I just have to say, like, I'm definitely going through that as well. Like, just trying to figure out, like, other things I can do to meet new people, just to be around different environments. Because I'm, like, learning, like, okay, certain environments is just not for me. So, just like you said, like, just being able to be around certain people is what I'm working on. So, yeah.
Yes. And, like, I'll say, for me, this has been, like, the most... Since I've been back from my deployment, so like when I was overseas, I was by myself. So like all I had was me. And then the issue is when I came back home, I got distracted. Like I deployed like 3 years ago, and I was doing great. Like that whole year was just full of God, like the whole year. Then I come back and I spent a year and a half like not really focused on God, and it was heavily influenced by those who I was surrounding myself with. And then I met the guys that God blessed me to have, and then that's when God started coming back into my life. And then now, like, meeting you guys, it's also encouraged me to dive deeper into, you know, God, especially how we met. Like the whole conversation was literally just about God. And then same thing with you. And then like, dude, when we be studying and stuff, like even though we're talking about like when we be meeting up with our study group, and we're all 3 different majors, we're studying 3 different things, but like even when we go to our study groups, like we just randomly just talk about God, like just randomly. And that's something I really love, is like every single time I'm around y'all, it's always just a God moment, like God's talking. And so that's one thing I'm so grateful for. And so I really want to encourage whoever's listening or watching this, bruh, really, really dive deep and see who it is that you're surrounding yourself with. If they aren't leading you down the path that God has set for you, first of all, to even notice who it is you're surrounding yourself with, you got to know where God's sending you. Not even just know where God's sending you. You got to be in a place where you're hearing God's voice. The last episode we were talking about the importance of finding God's voice, because God's voice is super soft. God's voice is super quiet, because it's something that you have to literally make an effort to go find. You know what I'm saying? And so friends can be a distraction to God's voice too, because we were talking about like college is a very loud place, not just like literally like loud like noise but like loud, like there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. There's a lot of people going to parties. There's a lot of people just doing a lot of things that can be distracting. But if you have God-fearing friends, you have people that can encourage you. Hey, like maybe you should slow that down, or hey, maybe you should change this up. And like I can't tell you how many times like I've been on the phone with this girl right here, like both of y'all actually, because I was on the phone with you last week because I was going through a situation, and I was on the phone with you like 3 days ago because I was dealing with a situation. And like literally every single time that I was in those situations, I was kind of down, like they would pour into me. Like y'all want to talk about that, like how having God-fearing friends, like when you're in moments of like despair or sorrow or whatever it is, like having people in your life that are God-fearing, like they can just like lift you up. Like,
yeah. Honestly, like in times like those, I think it's important to really hone in on like lowering that loudness that we talk about in college, right? So with friendships, I know with college, you know, you're around a lot of people. You know, it's kind of sometimes hard to decipher friends from associations to, oh, we're just classmates, to, oh, we're just teammates. And so when you go through times like that, right, it's really about quality over quantity. You know, those 2 or 3 friends in your corner that you know you can confide in, that you know can seek out your wisdom, because you can't get wisdom from everybody.
Come on.
Right.
Because, you know, I just heard something somewhere. Oh, yeah, I was listening to a video of Sarah Jakes, right? And I think the newest video is like a mirror and a model. And it talks about how you can't look at what everybody is doing, because you're going to end up mirroring what everybody is doing.
Come on.
And if everybody doesn't have the same assignment or the same task of life that you are on, you can't look at them and get advice from them. I think it's really, especially as collegiate students, collegiate student athletes, it's important to have discernment and conviction and praying to God about who we need to be talking to, who do we
Yes.
need to surround ourselves the most. Because it's cool to have like associations. That's what college is for.
Yes.
It's for networking. It's for connecting. But at the end of the day, you have to have bigger discernment on who has the greatest impact and influence on me. So in those hard times, once you've prayed about that and you know who you can go to, it's like it's golden. I swear it's golden.
And even like being able to go to other people, like knowing that discernment, like who can I go to? It's also like I pray that like I can be the person that somebody can go to. And it's like, and it's sometimes like I feel like I like will have certain friendships, and it's like I'm like, should I say something about God in this? Because it's like they're not going to hear me, or they're just like, oh, you're just always want to talk about God. But it's like, that's why I'm like so thankful I have y'all as friends, because it's like y'all understand like where I'm coming from, when it's like God is literally like everything. Like he has to do with like everything in my life. So when I'm like trying to give somebody else advice, it's kind of hard to like not put God in there, because I feel like he's just everything. So I'm definitely like still like trying to just pray about discerning of who I can be around, or who I like, how to give advice so they can still hear me, even if I do add God into that. And so, I don't know. Yeah, just prayer is really big.
You said two things that was really good, and you said two things about quality over quantity, and then you also said, Lord help me. You said, let's just talk about quality over quantity real quick. So I was literally on the phone with somebody last night who was struggling with like her feeling like she doesn't have a lot of people in her life, and I'm like, so the advice I gave her, and like God like literally spoke through me through that moment, was look at Jesus. Jesus was the most famous man on this earth, right? The most famous man on this earth had only 12 friends. He's going from place to place, kingdom to kingdom, city to city, country to country, talking to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. But he only had 12 friends that were actually following him, and like he actually confided in, he broke bread with, and all this stuff. So don't focus on how many friends you have, but the quality of friends like you had. Like you said, the quality of the friends is more important than the quantity, because Jesus himself only had 12 friends. Yeah. 12 people that followed him everywhere he goes. 12 people that he called brother. 12. Well, I know one of the disciples was a female. But like he had 12 friends compared to all the people that he knew, all the people that he met. So just because you're in a place where I only have one friend, praise God. Just because you're in a place where you have 0 friends is sometimes the place that God wants you to be in, because he's preparing you to meet the people that God wants you to meet. You know, for me, when I was overseas, and I was like, I had so many moments where I was like, God, why would you take me away from my family? God, why would you take me away from my friends? I had no friends. I was literally overseas by myself in the desert, literally in the quiet place, waking up by myself, going to sleep by myself, going to work with people that I don't even talk to this day. Like just like I was literally overseas alone. God, why would you do that? Little did I know, during that place of quiet, during that place of solitude, like I was literally talking to someone about this the other day, or literally last night. Don't run away from solitude. Don't run away from isolation. Solitude and isolation is not always a bad thing. Sometimes God purposely puts you in isolation. Sometimes God purposely puts you in solitude because he needs to work on you, so that way you can get ready to be in a place to accept the people that he wants you to have. Because if you're in a place where you're in a different mindset, the people that are meant for you could be standing right in front of you, and you're not going to notice them because you're blinded by the other situations and circumstances that you're in.
Mm-hmm. That was a lot, man.
I'm sorry.
No, you good. It was all good.
Yeah.
I can speak on that isolation part, though.
Yes.
I don't feel as though I'm in 100% isolation, but I can say within the past 4 months, it's been different. I'm used to being out and about. I'm used to being on every set. I'm used to having a group of people around me. I'm used to wanting to always be around people. Yes. And I don't know if like even my friends know this for real, but like I go to class, I go to practice okay, like I'm around my teammates and like I'm back in my dorm. And I really feel as though God has called me to a season of isolation. And every time I hear that, you know, about the whole quality over quantity thing, it's John 13:7, you know, where Jesus told the disciples, like, you may not understand now what I'm doing, but later you will. And when you go through those moments and you don't understand why you're not around people, you know, and, oh, God, I don't have a lot of friends, that's when you rely on God the most. You know, when you feel weak in those weakest moments, that's when you rely on God the most. So season of isolations are good. Like if you don't feel like you're around a lot of people, that's when you hear God's voice the most.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I would say like I'll have like moments where I feel like isolated. I won't say I'm like going through a season, but there will be like moments when I feel isolated, and I feel like that's when like I hear God the most, and I feel like that's when I am like more grateful for the friends that like when they do check up on me, and like when I am able to go talk to certain people, like that makes me really grateful when you talk about like quality. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I've just always been used to like having a lot of friends, but as I've gotten in college, I've really just started like, I don't know, my friends just said like start to shave down, but it's like it just makes me so much more grateful for the friends that I do have and the friends that God are like is continuing to like bring in my life. So I feel like I'm still like just going through it and like getting used to everything, but it's definitely a journey, and I'm just thankful for it to just keep going and for just to hear God's voice and everything. So
yeah, man. Like you said, two things that really stuck to me was one, you feeling like, or you find God in your times of isolation, or you feel like you hear him the most in those times of isolation. But look at Jesus. Every single time he heard from God, he went. Like if you look in the scriptures in Matthew, there's a bunch of times where Jesus is talking to God. There's the same word in every scripture. It says went. Jesus went. Where'd he go? He left his friends and he put himself in a place of isolation so that way he could hear God. And Jesus is reminding us that you find God in the times of isolation. You find God in the times of quiet. You find God in the times where things are still. Jesus left his disciples and went up all the way to the mountaintop to pray, where no one was. He left everything. And so I'm not saying leave your friends, but sometimes you got to leave the situations that you're in. Sometimes you got to fast. Sometimes you got to take a step back. You know what I'm saying? When things are loud and too overwhelming, or truly anytime that you just want to go to God and pray, what does the Bible tells us? He says, go into your closet, close the door, and pray, because you'll find me in secret. You know what I'm saying? There was something else you touched on, but it's blanking my mind right now.
There's something else, like kind of a time in my life where it was like during COVID. Like that's when I had moved schools. That's when I was like in a whole new school. It was like a smaller school, and I just felt like so isolated from everybody. But I really feel like that's when like I had my breakthrough with God, where I had my breakthrough with track. Like everything just kind of started clicking. Like I won't say like at first it definitely wasn't like, but then like as time went on and I would like really seek God for a lot, because it's like, I don't know, it's like sometimes when you're at your lowest, like that's when you seek God the most, and that's really what I like felt like I was doing. Of course, seek God at all times, but that's when I was seeking him the most. And so ever since then, I feel like me and God have just been like much more stronger, just from like going through those periods of isolation or sadness or anything like that. So it's just encouragement that although you're going through like hard times or anything, like don't be afraid to seek God. Like God is always there. So yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
You got it.
Something that Nia said that like really just stuck with me is, you know, like when we meet God at our lowest, you know what I'm saying? And also the part, I'm trying to find the words to say that.
No, you
good. Mine's drawing a blank.
Lord help her.
You got it.
You good.
Yeah, something about meeting God at your lowest.
You good.
You got it.
Yeah, y'all.
In the name of Jesus, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah, it's going to come back to me, y'all.
When we talk about something else.
I want to bring up 1 Corinthians chapter 15, I believe.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 33. It says, do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. Bad company ruins good character. And so for me, that sticks out to me heavily. I was literally I found this verse last night because I was having a conversation with someone literally dealing with this with the same situation we're talking about, like how you could be in a place where you really feel like you're in your Bible. You really feel like, you know, you're doing what you need to do. You're focused. You're disciplined. You're on your grind. And the moment that you let the wrong people in your life, everything can flip. Everything can flip. Like for me, when my freshman year of college, bro, I'm not a pastor's kid, but my mom was like a minister, if you will, like in the church. We were the family every single week, every Sunday in the church, every single Wednesday in the church, a random day throughout the week, like on a Monday in the prayer services, I ain't gonna lie. I didn't appreciate it at the time. I was so mad. My mom dragged us to church every single day, and she up there, glory be to God, up there worshiping and praying. And I'm over here mad, like infuriated. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm trying to go play with my friends. And she's like, glory be to God. And I'm like, bro, and I'm, yeah. But that's how I was raised. Like I was raised heavily in the church, and then boom, as soon as I get to college, that's the place where it all changes. That's the place where it all switches up. I'm not going to church anymore because why was I going to church? Because I had the company of people who were encouraging me to go to church. My family was my quote unquote friend group. My family were the people that were encouraging me to go to church. My family were the people that I ran to when I was crying and I had a bad day at school. My family was the ones that was around when I just needed somebody. And what do? They uplifted me. But then when I go to college and now it's up to me to surround myself with certain people, now I'm finding myself hanging around with certain people. I'm not going to church anymore. Like the same guy from birth, literally in church, straight out the womb. All right, baby's here. Let's go to church. Like literally, like I'm exaggerating, but I'm saying like since I was a little baby, like I was always in the church. How do I go from always being in the church to my first year of college? I'm no longer in the church. It's because I'm who I'm surrounding myself with. If your friends, what they say, you're like the people you surround yourself with. The people that I was surrounding myself with weren't going to church, so why would I want to go to church? You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous, bro.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that. Like I grew up in the church, and even like on like literally after school, after my parents came home, we would do a devotion and we would like talk about our praise requests, prayer reports, and all of that. And like just coming to college, it was like a whole like transition from that. And like I'll just say like I really appreciated those moments because it really like made me like thankful for everything God has blessed me with and everything. And I would say like my freshman year, I was trying churches out and everything, but I feel like this year I just became more established and like I'm continuing to do that. And it's like, although like I have like my friends here and everything, my parents have also like been a big part of that. My mom, she's just always reminding me. Like sometimes I'll like kind of slide off, or I'll just be like, oh, I'm too tired to go to church. My mom's, Nia, did you go to church? And I'm like, okay, let me get up. And I'm like, when I get there, I'm like, I'm so happy I ended up going there. So yeah.
And then you better say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely had the exact same experience about. I went to a Catholic high school, and so everybody that I was around was Christian, and so like leaving that environment and then like no longer being there and being in college around people that know absolutely nothing about God was very much a culture shock for me. And I think I conformed, you know, in Romans 12:2. I don't want to misquote.
Speak it.
You know, but
speak it.
It says, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. And I was copying the behaviors of the world because that's all I saw. And, you know, like I said earlier, that I was really praying for that community, praying for people to help me get back on the right path. And I just didn't have it yet at the time. And nor was I strong enough in my faith to really seek it out. And so I think it's important, going back to 1 Corinthians 15, that you are what you see. You are the perspective that you have and the company that you keep. And I feel like everybody's like, oh, that's so cliche. We say that all the time. I hear it all the time. But it's really true, because it's what your focus is fixed on. If you're around people that aren't going to church, if you're around people that are like, oh, why are you bringing up God? Then that's what you're going to become. And I think a prayer for all college students is not to conform, just like purify your hearts, your minds, and to just really pray about the company that you keep. So,
And I will say that the closer you get to God, the fewer people may be around.
yes.
Because I'm a pretty popular guy. Like every college every school I've ever gone to, I just I've been well known. And I'll say, like, when I first came to Tech, like, I was the guy that, like, oh, Cam got the move, Cam got the like, Cam, what we doing this weekend? Everybody would hit me up, and I was that guy. And then I'm still known on campus, but, like, as far as, like, who I'm, like, with outside of a school and who I'm with outside of, like, being on campus, y'all know me. I'm pretty much in my room, not on purpose, but, like, that's just the lifestyle that I'm having. And so I encourage people to not focus on, dang, like, if I change my ways and if I change my friend group, I don't want to live a life where everyone's over here doing this and I'm the only one over here. What does the Bible say? The Bible says that we are sheep amongst a pack of wolves. So be innocent as a dove, be wise as a serpent and innocent as a dove. So basically he's telling us, following Jesus, you're going to be in the crowd, but you're not going to be of the crowd. You're going to be in the situation where you're in the crowd. You're going to be around all the people, but God isn't saying be the crowd, not conforming to the crowd. Don't allow yourself to change because it's so easy. It's so easy when everybody's doing something, you want to do it because you don't want to be the oddball. You know what I'm saying? But Jesus was the oddball. Jesus was in the crowd, but he wasn't of the crowd. He was the oddball. And the Bible also says that the narrow path is very difficult. Following Jesus is very hard. It's very difficult. Sometimes God may tell you to go here, but everybody else is over there. But God is promising you that, it says, I'm actually going to pull it up. It says, one second. It says in Matthew chapter 7, verse 13, it says, enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy. So God's saying, entering by the wide gate, the broad gate, it's easy. But that gate leads to what? Destruction. And those who enter it are many. Everyone's gonna go down that path. For the gate is narrow, for the gate that's short and narrow and slim is hard. God's promising it's gonna be hard, but that way surely will lead you to life. And very few will take it. It says very few. It doesn't say everyone's gonna take it. It says very few. So don't run from the quiet. Don't run from the isolation, because when you change your life around, things are gonna be a little bit quiet. Things are gonna be a little bit calm. And bro, I can't even tell y'all how peaceful my life has been.
Yes. I agree to everything you just said. Something that sticks out to me is something that my dad told me almost 10 years ago. Shout out City of East St. Louis, But East St. Louis. So he told me he was at a speech. He was doing a speech for
you said your dad?
Yeah,
Okay.
like my dad, he's in politics and stuff, and so he was giving a speech for some city over, and he said, in this lifetime, you will count on maybe not even both your hands, on your hands, how many real friends you'll have. And that sticks with me. We have an entire lifetime, and you're telling me that in this entire lifetime, I'll have 10 friends. And we're in maybe the first quarter of our life right now?
Right.
So think about that when you're around a bunch of people. Think about that when you're not around a bunch of people, and you're like, why am I not around a bunch of people? And something else, also, I did a vision board this year with Nia and one of our other friends too.
You said a vision board?
Yeah.
Okay.
And on my vision board, it's a clock, and it's a simple clock. It's like a beige background, and it's simplistic. And on the right of it, I have a verse, and it's 1 Thessalonians 4:11 through 12, and it says, I'm not going bar for bar, but live a simple life, mind your business, and work hard with your hands.
Come on.
And when you do that, people will see that you are of God, and your work will speak for itself. So not being in the crowd all the time, that's okay. And honestly, when things don't make sense for you, when you don't understand why don't I want to go out right now, Lord? Or why wasn't I able to go out, and this, that, and the third? You have to remember that that's when God can work the most. When things don't make sense to you, that's great, because God knows everything. Your story is already written. So,
Come on.
you know, living a simple life, not having a lot of people around you, that doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. In fact, it may mean you're on a better path. So,
Something that you said that stuck out to me was when you were saying how, what is it, many lead to death, or what is it, many is the way that leads to death, and then like,
Yeah, like the
quote me.
So the broad. Let me just open up my word. You know what I'm saying?
I know it, but I don't.
Hey,
know
twist the twist.
this one.
Like lift it up and twist it to the right as hard as you can. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Now it's gonna stay.
Okay.
So Matthew 7 verses 13, it says,
Yes.
"Enter by the narrow gate,
Yes.
for the gate is wide and the way is easy.
Mm-hmm.
That way will surely lead to destruction, and those who enter it are many. For the gate that is narrow, the way is hard,
Yep.
but that way will lead to life, and very few will take it."
And that is one of the verses my mom, she has always reminded me, because growing up, I was not able to go to everything, and she is always reminding me of that. And now I'm starting to see it, like, for real. Like, and that's what I have to gauge myself by. Like, when I see, like, everybody doing something and something just is real popular, like, I feel like you got to take a step back and be like, is this really what I need to be doing?
Right.
Like, because it's like, if this is for me, if this is godly, because, you know, this world is, we are not of this world, so we're not going to just fit in with everything. So
Right.
sometimes when I'm not going to things, or if everybody's there, I need to take a step back and like, is this really something I need to be doing? Because that's
Come
what,
on.
because I can get,
Come on.
like, sometimes I can get caught up into like wanting to be with the crowd and everything, and like it'll make me like kind of sad, like, oh, I'm not going out, or I'm not doing this,
on.
but it's like, that's not for you, and God's
Come on.
doing something for you different from other people. You can't measure yourself by other people's lives, because that's when you're gonna get caught up in trying to live somebody else's life, or trying to run somebody else's race, you know?
on.
Like, no.
oh man.
So-
Running someone else's race.
Wait a minute.
Hey.
Wait, what you got? What you got?
So
Because I got some on that.
remind me, about
Okay.
running the race. What are you talking about?
Running a race, identity, like conforming to what somebody else has and not what you have.
Come on.
Talk
I'm gonna say this real quick, and then you say it real quick. I just want to remind everybody of the verse about Jesus saying, where does it say? Jesus help me. Basically, you were saying we're not of this world. We're not supposed to be here. So like the moment that you find yourself doing what everybody else is doing is the moment you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
For like, bruh,
No, for real.
I got I say this a lot, but are you gonna remember what you need to say? Okay. So I was homecoming king, right? But every time I look back, it was a great experience. It was a great honor, I guess. But when I look back, I was homecoming king because I was doing what everybody else was doing or wanted me to do. I was going to the parties. I was homecoming king because I was popular going to the parties. I was popular because I was goofing off in class, doing everything that I shouldn't be doing, and I was still rewarded with a bunch of people saying, "Hey, congrats, you're the king." And that's the trick of the enemy, and that's the trick of the world, is that when you're involved with what the world is doing, it seems like it's very successful. It seems like you find a lot of success in it. With a lot of these people, and this is no shade to anybody, but like I want to peel back the curtain so y'all can really see what's going on. All these celebrities and stuff in music, entertainment, first of all, if they don't have Jesus, they've lost their life, first of all. But do not look at celebrities and all these people who are high in the charts and stuff and say that's the type of life you want to live. Bro, I'm telling you, a lot of them are popular because they are discussing things that, especially in music, talking about things that the world wants them to talk about, you know, sex, drugs, all these things that are not of God at all. And guess what? They're talking about these things and they're popular. So that's the trick of the enemy, is that it looks good. It looks glorifying. You're gonna make a lot of money. That's the trick of the enemy. Mm-hmm. It's to get you to do those things. And I'm here to tell you, or not even y'all, but even myself, but whoever's listening, just because you see success with it does not mean it's where you're supposed to be. Just because you see success with it does not mean it's of God. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Look at Jesus' life. He wasn't a rich man, but he was where God needed him to be. That's right. Every single moment, every single second. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Bethlehem was the hood of the Bible. Bethlehem was the ghetto, if you want to call it that, whatever. Bethlehem was where, you know what I'm saying? It was the place of low income. A lot of quote unquote, they say, how did Jesus, the savior of the world, come from a place of low income? He should have been born in the throne, like, you know, in the kingdom where King Herod was. You know what I'm saying? But Look at Jesus' life. It wasn't glorifying. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't ostentatious. It wasn't like in your face. It was very, very, like you said earlier, simple. But he had way more success than the people that were literally sitting in the thrones being worshipped by everybody that had all the money. Jesus had barely any money. He literally had to go from place to place to find food.
Yeah.
But King Herod and everybody else that was sleeping in the kingdom, they lost their life. The Bible also talks about laying down your cross. If you lay down your cross and follow him, those who do that will find their life. But those who don't do that, they've lost it.
And I feel like people, they lose sight of like the big goal, the big prize. Like this life is for a short period of time. Just like they say, God's timing is so much different from like our thoughts on time. So people are like, oh yeah, if I have success in this life, then I'm gonna have success. No. Success in your life is when you are able to go to heaven, when God is to say, yes, you can come into heaven. I feel like people lose sight of that. They're like trying to just be successful quick, have that money, get rich and all of that stuff. And even I can get caught up in that. I'm not even gonna lie. Like sometimes I just get caught up in like getting things now rather than like measuring myself to God's standard rather than its life standard. So this is just an encouragement to not always just think about this life, like think about afterlife, think about eternity, because that's what truly matters in the end. So,
that's what that verse was saying about when you lay down your cross, you find your true life. True life is eternity.
Exactly.
This is not
eternity.
real.
This is not our home.
Yeah. Man, y'all spitting for real. But yeah, what Nia just said, like I'm far from perfect too. I think on days where I lose sight of the word that God has spoken over my life, that's why it's important to be in your word.
Right.
Because when you have those days of doubt, when you have those days of, I don't feel like carrying out something that God has already told me or that I know that's right, that's when you got to have the truth planted on your heart. Because those are the days that's going to get you through whatever you feeling. Because feelings are temporary. They here today, gone tomorrow. But the truth of God is here forever. And so, like, I have here about running the race of life. 1 Corinthians 9, verses 24 through 27. This is something my high school coach told me. Said, don't you realize that in a race, everyone runs, but only one athlete gets the prize? So run to win. And all athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. So I run with purpose. In every step, I am not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. So that whole notion about like
Jesus,
Lord, whole notion about just
you got it. Come on, you got it.
Basically, like we're not here. We don't live this life for this world. Like we live for an eternal prize. So when we feel like conforming, when we feel like our identity is not looking like everybody else's, or we want it to be something else that it's not, we live for an eternal prize. That should always be why we stay disciplined, why we keep going. But also about identity and like why do I feel like this? Why is everybody else going out, but I'm feeling iffy? Or sometimes when I go out, it's like, should I have gone out? Type of thing. Our identity is not in all of that. But here in John chapter 1, verses 12, it says, but to all who believed him and accepted him, he gave right to become children of God.
Come on.
That's our number one identity. I literally changed my Instagram bio today a couple of days ago, child of God. Like, that's our number one identity. Our identity is not in who we are, our success, our fame, how successful we are on earth, because all those things can go away, here today, gone tomorrow. Literally. But, our identity as children of God is what's going to remain forever. So,
can I say something about identity real quick? Who made us? God is our creator. If you want to know the identity of an iPhone, right? If the iPhone breaks up, like let's say you have an iPhone, right? You drop the iPhone and it shatters. You're gonna take it to your homeboy and be like, hey, bro, can you fix my iPhone? You're gonna take it to the creator of the iPhone. You're gonna take it to the manufacturer of the iPhone, the person that put the iPhone together, because the person that put the iPhone together truly knows everything about the iPhone, truly knows everything that's inside of the iPhone, in and out, around and about, all that. So we we end up getting the wrong advice and end up in the wrong places because we're trying to find our identity in man and in people and circumstances and situations instead of trying to find our identity through Jesus Christ. Because guess who Jesus Christ is? Guess who God is? God is our creator. God is our manufacturer. God is the one who intricately put us together. The Bible says that Jesus or God knows every hair and fiber on your head. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when you get lost in trying to find your identity in man, in situations, in a bottle, in a blunt, in a party, in a song, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna find yourself losing your life. But when you that's why it's important to have God-fearing friends, because every single time you need advice, they're always gonna relate it back to the word, back to the word that comes from who? The Creator, Jesus Christ.
Man, bro, dude.
I'm sorry, bro.
4 plus 4?
Huh?
4 plus 4?
You 8.
4 plus 4 is 8.
Yeah, you
You don't
8.
get it.
Oh.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
It's okay.
I'm very slow when it comes down to that.
It's okay.
That
It's
stuff.
okay. It's okay.
No, that was good. And just like another thing about trying to be satisfied from other things, like God, I feel like when He created us, He made us with that hole, and we try to fill that hole with like different things, like you said, like going out or even like social media, comparing yourself to other people. Like you try to fill that hole with other things, but it's like God made us in His own image, and we like He is the only thing, His Holy Spirit is the only thing that can fill that hole.
Yes.
And I feel like that's why so many people, they go down a road of like longing and feeling like they're missing something, but it's right here in the word. But it can just sometimes it's just hard to just want to pick up your word, because it's like I don't feel like doing it, or you're just not disciplined. But whenever you continue to do it, it just becomes a habit, and then that's when God is really going to start speaking to you, and you're going to feel that hole just fill up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And earlier we were talking about the important, and if y'all want to say one more thing about this, because I want to move to running the race with, y'all running track and stuff like that, and like how that relates to life. But one of the things that we talked about earlier was the importance of having good friends, right? Or we've been talking about that. I'm sorry, but I wrote down on my phone, when you go to the gym and it's time to lift that heavy weight, who's there to help lift the weight if it's too heavy? You got your gym partner. You got your buddy who, what is it called when you're at the gym?
Your
Spotter. Oh, Jesus. You got your spotter. Your friends, bro, when we in the gym right now, let's say the world is the gym. The world is the gym, and the world's got weights that it's time you got to lift sometimes. It's going to have 225. It's going to have whatever it is that's heavy. You know what I'm saying? I'll be lifting 225, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, like sometimes when the weight is too heavy, you got your spotter behind you to help lift that weight off of you. And that's a blessing that God has given us, bro. I literally was in the gym one time and I thought, bro, I was in the gym one time and I thought I could lift a certain weight. And I was doing it with a spotter, and I was like, nah, I got it. And so the spotter went over there. He's like, oh, he got it. And went over there and did his own thing. And then I tried to lift the weight. I lifted off the rack. I'm going down. And it touches my chest, and I can't take it off my chest.
Yeah.
I can't take it off my chest. Bro, imagine how that relates to your life too. When you can be around, and there was a bunch of people around, but no one was there to help me. And that's how it is with having a lot of friends that aren't meant for you. They can be all around you, but they can't help you lift the weight, because sometimes the weight that's on your life can only be lifted by who? God. And that person who's that person that's the spotter knows how to lift that weight. How they know how to lift that weight? Because they've been in the gym. Mm-hmm. They've been in the word. You know what I'm saying? Your friends are your spotters in life. You know what I'm saying? And with you guys, I cannot tell you how many times I was not crying, but going through a tough time, and you guys helped me lift that weight off. You know what I'm saying? You guys helped me through that moment. And I've been in a lot of situations with the friends I had before where I would go, man, I'm dealing with this, and some of the advice that they would give me most of the time would, oh man, let's just go to a party and have some fun and just shake it off. Oh man, just take this shot. You know what I'm saying? It'll get your nerves off. You know what I'm saying? But the issue with alcohol and other substances that people run to, like for me, I ran to pornography, is it makes you feel good in the moment, but the situation is still there. The hurt is still there. It makes you feel good when you for me it was pornography, but let's just say you're addicted to alcohol or something like that. You take that shot. It makes you feel good in that moment, and then you wake up the next day, but the problem is still there. But whenever I took my situations to you guys, and I take it to God, the weight is lifted off and it's put on the rack. It's away. It's off of me. It's not still there. That's what I want to say with that.
And another thing with having, I feel like godly friends is you can have a prayer circle. Like you can give it to them and you can be like, can you just pray for me for this? Or like, even like with our team, like we have a Bible study group chat and we'll just like send in our prayer requests. And it's just good to know like there's somebody out there that's like praying for you. You have like your prayer warriors because God says give it to him and he'll take it away. So I think it's also good to like just have somebody like out there advocating to God for you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Pray.
The only thing I have on that is James chapter 5, verse 16 says, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results.
Jesus.
Like we are called to be there for each other. We are called to,
Jesus.
obviously with the right people, right? But like we are called to be there for each other, to have accountability, to confide in each other. That's how we get through things, not running to something that's not ever going to help us, like alcohol, like whatever addiction, or something that is not going to serve you.
Right.
That's why we have godly friends.
Right. Jesus.
And obviously, we be having fun too, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't be all right, like godly friends. It's not like, oh, this is different than other friends. Like
I'm telling you, I've had more fun with you guys than I've ever had at a party. I cannot tell, bro. Let's just be real for a second. When you go to a party, bro, if you're not drinking, you literally just sitting on the wall
and watching.
That's me.
And
and
watching the people that are drunk, you just like, why am I here right now?
Like,
I'm telling you, bro. I cannot tell you how many times I put a whole fit on. Oh, I look fly just to go sit on the wall and look like
I swear. Or like,
I'm at the party.
I remember back in the day, back in high school. I say back in the day, I do that all the time. But anyway, back in high school, I used to try to fit in at these parties or whatever. And I wouldn't be doing nothing, but I'd be on my phone swiping back and forth from that weather app to reminders, the calendar, just
Gmail.
Just because I just felt out of place. I'm like, okay, like
yes, literally, I'd be on the wall. Like I'm a very social person, but I like literally like I don't feel like I should be there. So I'm like on my phone, like you just said. I'm swiping down on the top right of my iPhone to check the control settings, to put my volume up and down, to put my brightness up and down. I be doing that all the time, bro, to just pass time by.
Yeah.
And like I be doing that by myself at a party. Where my friends at? The people that are my friends, everybody's over there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You worried about isolation, but you still surrounded by a lot of people, and yet you're still alone. Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying?
Man, that's the other thing. This is my last thing on this topic. Back in high school, I never went to parties, y'all, ever. Like if I went to parties maybe 3 or 4 times in 4 years, and all my friends would text me, Nariah, you want to go out? You want to go out? That I'll let you know turned into a no every single time. So why do I come to college and I think I'm going to change? Like, stay true to who God wants you to be.
Yes.
Number one, back to John. We are children of God.
Yes.
Starting my junior year of high school, I knew that wholeheartedly. I knew where I need to be. I knew what I need to do. I knew what I need to do to keep my grades up. I knew what I need to do to excel on the track. I come to college and I try to do mumbo jumbo and switch it up. Remember who you are. We are children of God. That's our main identity. Yes. And as long as you remember that in your heart, you're going to be straight.
Yes, Jesus.
It's identity first. Like, know who you are. So.
And to kind of, I want to talk about one more thing, but to end this topic, to know who you are, you gotta what? Go to God, and once you find who you are, then once you find your identity, you can then associate. Okay, who am I gonna allow in my life? Because I can relate that to dating. How can you know you're dating the right person if you don't know who you are? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because for me, I started dating the right, like going out with the right girls when I found who it is that I was. And I say girls, after I truly found myself, there was really only one that like I really, yeah. But when I found my identity, I was able to choose who it is that I want to allow in my life. You know what I'm saying? But before, and that's the crazy part, is when I found my identity, the dates that I used to go on went down. But then when I didn't know my identity, I'm going all over the place trying to find, this, you know what I'm saying?
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity, bro. And one thing I want to switch over to is y'all run track. Can y'all talk to the people about the importance of when you're running your race to not look at, like, don't y'all's coaches teach y'all to focus on your lane?
Run your race,
Run
not
your
anybody
race.
else's.
Right.
Run your
Yes.
race.
Run your race. That's the number one thing.
I can just say this story will forever stick to me. I was in high school. I was running against this girl. She was like one of the fastest people in the state of Texas. And she was in my heat. A heat is basically like a group of people, like there's 6 lanes, and so that was our heat.
Yeah.
And so I already knew like she was coming in with like a really fast time, and I was coming in with my time. And so I was like, okay, I got to make sure I like stay with her. And like that was my biggest problem, because running the 400, like, yeah, it's a long race, but it's also short. But it's like you can, it's like at different points, you know, when you need to speed up, you need to slow down, you need pace, like all of that. She came out flying. I'm supposed to be coming out flying, but like not like that. Like
Right.
I have my different, ways. And so as she's going out, I'm like, oh, I need to speed up.
Right.
I speed up, thinking I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna stay with her. Y'all, the last 300 comes, and I'm gassed. I can't run no more, and she's gone. And I'm like, see, this is my problem. If I had just stayed on my race and paid attention to what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to execute, I wouldn't have had that problem. So that just goes to show, just for life, like you cannot compare your journey to somebody else's, because
Jesus.
you might have different obstacles in that person. You never know what that person went through. You don't know how they got to that position. So you gotta know what you're doing and just focus on yourself, you and God, and that's how you're gonna make it a lot easier on yourself.
Bro, who's that the USA runner, the black girl? She like got in a situation where she got in trouble and now she's back.
Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri.
She's cold.
Sha'Carri who?
Richardson.
Sha'Carri Richardson. I was watching a video of her. There was just, you be on TikTok and you just ran into a random video. And I was watching a video on her, and literally what was going on in the video was, first of all, she won the race, but like her, I think it's, if I'm correct, her, what's it called when you jump off of the thing?
Blocks.
Yeah, but like what's
Her
it called?
block start?
Your start?
Her block start, I think.
Like at the beginning of the race.
Yeah. Like her initial
Like her dry phase.
Yeah.
Nah,
Like when
what's
she
it called?
first got out.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
that called? What's that term called?
Like drive phase when you first got the
Jump
blocks.
start.
Your jump start. Her initial jump start when they blew the whistle and she took off. Everybody else was faster than her, but I noticed that her acceleration was what
was
got her
way
at the
faster.
end. And so she starts off slower than most people, but she
Yeah.
always speeds up and finishes. So like, imagine if you start your race and be where God told you to be, and you start your race and everybody else is over here doing this. And imagine if she did not focus on her lane and focus on the pace that she knows she's supposed to run, she may not win,
Right.
because she's trying to start off fast like everybody else, and then she may slow down towards the end.
Yeah.
She knows her pace, so that's how she wins the race.
Yep.
Exactly.
And that's because she has confidence. Confidence, maybe in God, I don't know, but confidence in herself. And that just goes to show, like, when you have confidence and faith in God, your prayers will be answered. As long as you do what He says, like, your prayers are going to be answered. And that just comes with confidence in God,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Today, Jeremiah 17:7. Blessed are those who trust in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him.
Yep.
Jesus.
When you have confidence in knowing who you are, when God is the source of your confidence, nothing can shake you. The highs, the lows, the good, the bad. If somebody is ahead of you, if somebody's not, and that's really something I'm trying to tell myself lately, because obviously, like we be having our days.
Yes.
But also Psalms 139, verse 16. God knows our story already. He knows the beginning to the end. So when we have a part of our story that isn't cute in our eyes, just remember, it says here, this was David speaking, you saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. Like,
Jesus.
we, not everything, not every chapter of our life is going to be perfect, but when we remember who wrote the story, God is the author of our story. So
I'm telling you.
it is, you're never going to be stuck. God doesn't keep you in darkness. God doesn't keep you in tragedy or chaos or confusion. There's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Amen.
So,
You want to talk about anything else? I'm all out.
I don't know.
I guess, like, in regards to track, Nariah, like, how do you, like, if you have, like, a bad race, how do you come back for the next, how do you come back to practice the next day after like that bad meet and come back and still like determined and still ready for the next race? Like, what do you do?
Honestly, that's the biggest thing with regard to track that I feel like I've had to work on in the past 3 years is like emotional toughness and like remembering the truth, keeping feelings out of it and remember the truth. I feel like from a practical standpoint, I try to remind myself, I give myself like a 20-minute to hour range. It's like, okay, I got a little time to be like frustrated about this, but now it's time to shake it off and now it's time to move on to the next thing. Because like I just said, something that happened right now is not what's finna happen next.
Right.
Every single situation is different.
Right.
And I guess something that I do is you just gotta remind yourself of the truth. That's when you open up the Bible. When things don't go your way, that's when you open up the Bible. That's not when you turn away from it or say, oh, like this is not working, so I got to do something different.
Right.
So I'll answer your question. I feel like how I come back after a practice, we sit down like, okay, this is what the truth is. This is the facts. And then we still go back out and do the same thing.
Right.
You may not see the results right then and there, but every single thing that you're doing, as long as you're doing it to glorify God, as long as you're knowing that you're putting your all into it, that it's all going to work out at the end. You know what I'm saying? Everything always works out for the good of those who love God, right? Romans 8:28. So
And that gonna be
like,
Sitting them out.
bro.
I think that's something like
Rolling.
honestly that I'm reminding myself right now. I feel like in life, period, like I don't really see the end all be all of it, but I know what God has already spoken over my life. I know that God doesn't keep you in a low point. I know God doesn't keep you defeated. You're not defeated, period, because Jesus already came down here to die for us. But like at the end of the day, as long as you know the word God's spoken over your life, as long as you're in your word, you're working hard, you're doing absolutely everything you can to be the best you can be, then it's gonna work out in your favor. And also, I think it's it's all about perspective too. Like don't worry about what everybody's saying. Worry about what God is saying over your life. So like when you have those moments where it's like I don't see it or I'm struggling right now and this, that, and the third, keep all of that aside and keep the truth in perspective. That's what I've been trying to learn how to do lately.
Jesus.
So.
There's a verse, you know how like Jesus, I can't find it right now, but like in Genesis where it talks about in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and like it was talking about how God would create light, and what he say after everything he created, he said it was good. I was watching a sermon the other day. My mom sent it to me because I struggle with always trying to be perfect, not perfect, but striving, like when something doesn't go right or exactly how I wanted it, like I'm really hard on myself. The title of it was called "Why Are You So Hard on Yourself?" And he was talking about how Jesus, or not God, but when God was creating, not God, yes, God, when he was creating the heavens and the earth and he was creating everything, every single time he got done with something, he said, it's good, it's good, it's good. And the dude was talking about how if God was able to say it's good, why can't I just say it's good? You know what I'm saying? Why am I saying, oh no, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible? You know what I'm saying? So that's an encouragement too, is that be okay with it being good. Be okay with it not going to plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we hurt ourselves when we focus on all the things that are negative. The Bible talks about focus on everything that gives you joy. Focus on everything that gives you. I can't quote it right now, but God just wants us to focus on the things that are light and not dark. And that's kind of all I wanted to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have a...
No, I don't have anything to say.
Okay, I got
about to
3
cook.
more verses, okay?
She got 3 more. She
All
about
right,
to. Hey,
let me tell you.
You've encouraged me right here. I need to get in my word
Right.
deeper, bro. Deeper. Jesus.
No, that's
She
God.
said.
That's
She
God,
said.
I swear.
Did
I
you know
don't
that
know.
in blah blah blah? Like, dang.
I swear it's God, man. God is faithful, right? So, like, going back to God, God is a keeper of his promises, okay? Like, we don't work on our time. We work on God's time. And let me just get to the verses, okay? And also just keeping in perspective, like, yes, like, joy is what we should be fixed on, not what our temporary circumstances are.
Jesus.
But in Hebrews chapter 6, it says, here we go. So, we always wonder, I feel like something as a track athlete also that could be in the back of your head. Sometimes it's like, dang, like, is any of this ever going to pay off? We be having these hard days at the track. Is any of this ever going to pay off? I don't see it. You know what I'm saying right now? But like God, like what's the word? Like
Right.
so here in Hebrews chapter 6 verse 10, and it's man, bro, God is good. So for God is not unjust. He will not forget how hard you have worked for him and how you have shown your love to him by caring for other believers as you still do. You know, God doesn't forget. God doesn't ever turn a blind eye to anything that we do. He sees everything. So it's like as long as we're working for God, as long as you know you're being obedient to God, you're working hard, you're doing absolutely you can. God does not turn a blind eye to our hard work. And then also here in Galatians chapter 6 verses 9 through 10. This goes back to the timing of God. Not the page is sticking together, child. Okay. It says here, so let's not get tired of doing what is good, right? Going back to how we bounce back from a not a good race or not a good practice or whatever. You know, we don't get tired of doing what's good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. You know, there's nothing in the Bible that says quit. Well, unless God tells you to walk away from something.
Obviously.
You know what I'm saying? We're called to persevere. It's like in several verses. And then the last verse I have is 1 Peter.
She came prepared, bruh. Let's go.
Let's see. 1 Peter chapter 3. Actually, it's 2 Peter.
No,
2 Peter 3. Yeah, so verse 8 through 9. But you must not forget one thing, dear friends. A day is like 1,000 years to the Lord, and 1,000 years is like a day. The Lord isn't really being slow about his promise, as some people think. No, he's being patient for your sake. And in this case, they were talking about the return of Jesus, but I think we could relate this to any walk of our life. You know, like we don't operate on our time. Like our perspective of time and God's perspective is night and day. So yes, God may have spoken a word over your life. Yes, God may have given you a verse to place on your heart about things that are going on in your life. But you never know when that's actually going to take place.
Right.
But that's why we have faith, because it's the evidence of things we hope for is realities, things we can't see.
Amen.
We hold on to that verse and knowing that at the right time, like in Galatians, we are going to reap whatever God has for us.
Jesus.
So I think honestly, this is my last part.
keep going.
Like
Sorry.
right now, that's honestly literally all the verses that I hold on to as being a track athlete, and honestly with my life right now. So yeah.
And one more thing, just to do with like track and persevering and our timing. As somebody, both of us who have struggled with injuries, we can testify that like everybody's timing is different, but like don't be discouraged. Like even if you're not going through an injury, if it's something else, like just everybody goes through hard times. Like don't give up, and God's definitely not going to give up on you. Like no matter, like I was injured for basically a whole year, and I can like through that time, like I had highs and lows, but I stayed in my word, and God, I can say, definitely blessed me. Like I've ran like a full indoor season, and all I can do is thank God. Like so, and no matter what, even if I do have more lows, like I can just continue to persevere and just remember like everybody's timing is different. So like just remain encouraged by that.
Yes.
Life has its ups and downs. Yeah.
And this is like last thing I'll say with social media, when we're talking about like running your race and everything like that and like focusing on your lane, one thing I struggled with was comparing myself to the success that I saw other people having on social media. And like I'm like, God, like, excuse me. I'm like, God, I've been grinding for 3 years, and this guy's just started grinding a month ago, and he's got 1 million followers, and I'm still with 10,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm still with however many followers. Like stop comparing the life that someone else is living to yours. Because number one, you have no idea what that person did to get that. You have and second, the second option is God, or the second perspective is you have no idea why God did that for that person, and you just focus on what God wants for you, and let that person have what God has for them. Mm-hmm. And I was so focused on comparing myself, and it also comparison led me to quitting comparison led me to stopping, and now I'm in a place where I'm backtracking rather than pedaling forward. So stop getting on social media and comparing yourself, because it truly is the destruction of all of us. So.
And another thing I heard off this podcast, it was like, just because God is blessing somebody else does not mean he can't bless you. Like, God is faithful, and he's not taking, just because, you know, you're comparing yourself and these other people are doing this, like, just like he did that for somebody else, he can do that for you, like, times 2. Like, you just never know. So, yeah, just don't compare yourself. You know?
Absolutely. Like, just stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Like, with the whole thing with social media is highlights, okay?
Literally, highlights.
It's not the journey. Nobody knows what somebody is really going through behind, outside of that phone, outside of that feed. Like, life is about the journey, not the destination. And when you look at social media, you see the destination. Or even if somebody excels in something, like, somebody has an amazing race, for example, in track. Like, that was the destination, but did you see the journey? Because my journey,
how many losses they probably had.
Right, how many losses they had, how many nights they probably cried. Like, everybody's journey is different. I don't know her journey. She don't know my journey. So just keeping that in mind, too.
You literally, you hit it right on the nail. I don't really have anything else to say, though. Y'all good?
Yeah,
I'm good, man.
Bruh, this has been a phenomenal episode. If y'all don't have anything else to say, my name is Cameron Hobley.
I'm Nia Wiley.
I'm Nariah Parks.
Hey, this is the Here I Am podcast. If y'all want to tune in to other episodes, this is episode 3, so we got episode 1 and we got episode 2. Go check those out. Subscribe, comment what you want us to talk about next. Comment who you want me to have on the next episode. Follow us on Instagram. My personal Instagram is yb.kam, and also we have hereiam.podcast on Instagram. Y'all want to shout yourselves out? Y'all can, man.
I mean, my Instagram is one Nariah, my name, Izola, Izola, and I don't be on Twitter like that, but my Twitter is one Nariah Parks _. So if y'all want to check that out.
Yeah.
My Instagram is Nia Elise, NIAALESE. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. This has been a great episode. I hope you got something out of this, because I definitely did. I've been writing notes mentally. Love you guys. We're going to catch y'all on the next episode with whoever it may be. Love you guys, and peace.